What do you need to know about carnivore diet if you have autoimmunity? We will find out in today's video. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sylvia and I'm a big city mom, and that's because I live, work and raise my family in New York City. And whenever I have some free time, which isn't very often, I blog and vlog about health through diet, lifestyle and nutrition. Many years ago now, I was diagnosed with autoimmunity, rheumatoid arthritis, and that set me on this long journey to figure out how to reverse it through natural means. And about a year ago, I did it through diet, lifestyle and nutrition. I was so blown away with the results that it finally pushed me to start this channel and my blog. So if you are on this journey yourself, this is a definitely channel for you, so subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll get started with today's video. Just as the name implies, carnivore diet is all animal-based diet. Some people will drink tea and coffee and maybe use some spices, but if you are about 95% animal-based, you will be called a carnivore. If you read the testimonials, people have amazing stories of massive weight losses, reversal of diabetes, metabolic syndrome, all kind of aches and pains are going away, and some people even say that their hair stopped graying. Now, if you have autoimmunity, it is almost always connected to the leaky gut issues. So you will have to make few adjustments to the carnivore diet to be able to reverse autoimmunity, but it is definitely possible with the carnivore diet. All right, let's tackle the number one trigger for autoimmunity, at least for me, and that's dairy. And I also happen to love dairy, especially cheeses. And when I was doing the conventional ketogenic diet, I loved cheese because it was such an easy snack. It was helping me to get into ketosis and stay in ketosis. So I fought very hard to keep dairy in my diet. So I tried A2 milk, I tried making my own kefir at home, my own yogurt, I tried goat cheeses. Didn't work. I was still inflamed and I was still in pain. So I ended up giving up dairy completely, everything. And as you know, on the conventional carnivore diet, dairy is an animal product, so it's perfectly fine. But if you have autoimmunity, you will have to exclude dairy completely from your diet. Now, this wasn't the case for me. I didn't have to give up butter, but some people are sensitive to even tiny amounts of lactose found in butter. Now, you might want to experiment with ghee or clarified butter to see if that works for you. But I know of cases that had to give up even on the clarified butter because it was still triggering for some people. So at least for the therapeutic period of your diet, you might have to get rid of butter as well, and then see if you can reintroduce it on a later date when your gut is healed. So if we are talking about addressing autoimmunity with the carnivore diet, dairy is a hard no. Tea and coffee often fly under the radar on the carnivore diet, especially if you drink it without any sugars or anything else added to it. So many people drink tea and coffee and they do very well on the carnivore diet. However, those of us with autoimmunity will have to have a hard look at tea and coffee consumption. I used to be a huge tea connoisseur. I mean, I was drinking it a few times a day and I really enjoyed it, and I never thought that it would be any problem for me. Now, especially black tea and other teas as well have a lot of oxalates that can form crystals, especially in your joints. So if you are already prone to autoimmunity and then you have those crystals forming in your joints, not a good match. Now, one way to neutralize oxalates is to add milk to your tea. Except that if you have autoimmunity, you shouldn't be really consuming dairy. So I tried all kind of different ways. Eventually I had to remove tea. Now, to my surprise, I wasn't as addicted to tea as I was to coffee, but I noticed a major improvements to my autoimmunity, which I thought it was more due to coffee and not tea, but turned out to be that it was actually tea that was a lot more triggering to my autoimmunity than coffee. Now, when it comes to coffee, I didn't notice that it was a trigger for my autoimmunity. However, the diet I got from Paleo Medicina Clinic insisted that I give up coffee, so I was following the protocol religiously, so I gave up coffee. Paleo Medicina Clinic has a diet called Paleo Ketogenic diet, which you can think of nose-to-tail carnivore diet with ketosis. So I was really radical about adhering to the diet, so I gave up coffee as well. Now, there are a lot of other benefits I reaped by giving up coffee that weren't really related to autoimmunity, and that is my sleep improved tremendously. And also I used to have tension pains in my neck and in my shoulders, and I thought it was the result of stress from my day job. And that actually went away within a few days after I stopped drinking coffee. So there are many other benefits to giving up coffee. If you're sensitive to it, you'll know, because you will start feeling the difference past your initial withdrawal symptoms. I made a whole video about that, so be sure to check it out. I will link it in the description box below. So if you're looking to improve your autoimmunity, you will have to give up on tea and coffee as well. Let's be honest, food tastes so much better if you can salt it, spice it, add some sauces to it. And to be honest, nobody in the carnivore community will hold it against you if you add a little bit of barbecue sauce to your steak. However, if you have autoimmunity, this is something you have to be really careful about. And that's because, let's say, ketchup or barbecue sauce, for the ingredients not to separate over time and to preserve freshness, oftentimes have polysorbate 80 or carrageenan added to them. Now they're added mostly for the optics and for preserving food to last longer. But what they also do once they get to your gut, they increase gut permeability. And I am convinced that all autoimmunity diseases come from leaky gut. So in my effort to reverse autoimmunity, I work on reversing of my leaky gut. Now, if you continue eating foods that have polysorbate 80 or carrageenan in it, you're not doing yourself any favors. I have a short video about how carrageenan works in your gut, so I will link it in the description box. Check it out. So if you are on a conventional carnivore diet, salt and spices and some other condiments may be allowed, and you'll be able to have still magnificent results, especially when it comes to weight loss or reversing of diabetes or metabolic syndrome. But with autoimmunity, you have to be a lot more careful, especially in the therapeutic phase of the diet. Now, with time, when you feel strong about your leaky gut being reversed, you might want to see and add a little bit here and there to see if your body will tolerate it and adapt to it. But reversing autoimmunity, spices, sauces, dressings, condiments, gotta go. Did I mention that I love sausages and cold cuts? And obviously on the carnivore diet they are allowed, and people enjoy them sometimes just as a snack or as a meal to go, because they're easy to pack up and carry around. Now, if you have autoimmunity, this is also something you have to be really careful about, and that's because conventional sausages and other deli meats have lots of artificial additives and preservatives to preserve the color, freshness, and make the sausage and other meats last longer. Now, the only problem is that aside from polysorbate 80 and carrageenan, oftentimes in those meats they also add microbial MTG. This is a toxin produced by microbes in our gut, but that toxin has very interesting properties that it causes acts like a glue between the meat proteins, so it is oftentimes added to it. And the trouble is, it also increases your gut permeability. So if we are working on our leaky guts, this type of meats have to go away as well. Now, If you look at how traditional sausage is made, you basically have meat, fat, salt and pepper, maybe a spice such as coriander, and that's about it. So if you go to the deli and you look at the cold cuts that have a list of 50 ingredients, just skip it. So you have two ways about it if you want to include sausages or other meats in your diet, and that get directly to the farm, or maybe sign up for a buying club so that you know the source of your meats and how the farmer makes them. Or if you don't have access to the farm, you probably have to exclude it from your diet until your gut is completely healed. Be merry and eat steak is probably the simplest way to describe carnivore diet, and it is true, you will be merry, especially if you eat good quality steak. Now, if you have autoimmunity, you will benefit in addition to carnivore diet by staying in ketosis. Now, I got this idea from the clinic in Hungary, Paleomedicina. They did quite extensive studies on benefits of ketosis on all kinds of aspects of human health. Now, Dr. Sylvia explains this in the following ways. Now, on the paleo-ketogenic diet or carnivore diet with ketosis, you will be restricting carbohydrates completely, and so you will have to compensate with fat. And that's because our bodies have two preferred sources to make energy, either from carbohydrates, converting it into glucose, or from fat, converting it into ketones. Now, your body will be able to break down proteins and make it into glucose as well. However, this isn't a preferred way of our bodies to get energy. So if you're not eating any carbohydrates, you need to eat more fat so your body can produce enough energy. Now, there are other aspects of ketosis, and that is that it activates anti-inflammatory metabolic pathways. And so if you have autoimmunity, you are also oftentimes said to be your whole body is inflamed, or you are dealing with systemic inflammation. So ketosis counteracts that processes. So you will definitely benefit from being in ketosis while doing carnivore diet, especially if we are talking about autoimmunity. Now, as a side note too, when you switch to carnivore diet, increasing your fat intake will help you battle carbohydrate cravings. So that's yet another plus of increasing your fat intake. Carnivore diet hits your metabolic reset button and enables your body to heal itself. You only provide the tools. If you stick with the program long enough, you will be amazed. And if you have autoimmunity, there are some extra steps that you have to take and restrict your diet a little bit more. But if you stick with it long enough, you will reverse your autoimmunity. Alright, this will do it for this week's video. Please like, share, comment down below, and if you haven't yet, subscribe, and I will see you in my Friday findings. Bye!